Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to show you some great products I've been trying out. Now this tool costs practically nothing. It's an OBD2 memory saver. Got it at Amazon, it was like $12.99. But man, it can save you a lot of problems. Realize that modern cars, hey, they're very complex under the hood. Simply disconnecting your battery can mess with the computer system, can make it idle weird, lose your radio presets, mess with the burglar alarm. Just changing the battery on your car can create problems. Some modern vehicles, hey, you gotta pay a mechanic like me to use our fancy computer to reset stuff if you disconnect the battery or replace the battery. So, if you have one of these simple memory savers, you can bypass all that nonsense. To prevent all that electrical problem, you just need this device. Plugs into the OBD port. You just go under the dash. There's a port right here. That's it. Connect the other end to any 12-volt power supply. In this case, I'm using a motorcycle battery. Positive on positive, negative on negative. That's it. No mess, no fuss. Now, if you replace the battery or disconnect it so you can do electrical work and not charge something out, the computer memory stays alive, so it doesn't reset anything. Now, I found this particular $13 one to be the best because it's simple. It just plugs in, positive to positive red, negative to negative black. You can't screw up. And since you're using an external power supply, you don't have to worry about something going wrong. They make some of these that have a 9-volt battery built in and different other things, but then you got to worry, is that battery good? Is it going to hold up? Power supply to these clips, this thing's going to keep the memory. That's why this inexpensive one is the best one as far as I'm concerned. The plug only plugs in one way, so you can't screw that up. If you try upside down, it won't plug in. And these are very simple. Red is positive electricity, black is ground, negative electricity. That's it. So if you're going to plan on working on your car, even something as simple as changing the battery, hey, buy one of these $13 memory save devices. You'll thank Scotty when everything works just like it is and you don't find, oh man, the car's idling poorly now, or I can't turn my radio on because the anti-theft went on, or the anti-theft system of the car's gone ballistic, or in fancy cars like BMWs or Porsches, the sunroof won't work, or those little electric windows that go down when you close the door and then pop up, they won't work. You can bypass all that stuff with a simple memory saver like this. Now the next product I'm talking about is Magic Guard, a metal polish. It is insane. I have been trying it out for quite some time now. Since you may or may not believe me, check out these crappy wheels here. They haven't been polished in years. You just open up the Magic Guard and put some on. I'm using one of these clean, nice work towels I have. Put a whole bunch on. You want to make sure it's covered everything. Then let it sit on for 60 seconds. Yeah, just 60 seconds. And while we're waiting for the 60 seconds, here's the backstory of this stuff. Man in Missouri invented it. He died a short while ago, but his son has taken over the company. He went to car shows all over the place. He often won Best in Show with his own cars because he used this polish to polish them up and they shine like mad. And rightfully, he's proud of this product. They still make it in Missouri and it really works great for polishing stuff. Now we're going to start polishing. And as you can see, it's starting to polish up pretty good. Now, it was really pitted in here, so I'm going to do this particular section one more time. But you can see it's already looking a lot better than the side that we haven't polished yet. So we're going to work on this side too. And as you can now see, it's really starting to buff up good. You can see all the rust and crud that's coming off on the rag. And sure, it's work. You got to rub. Hey, you want something to shine? You got to rub. But look what it ends up like. Just look at the shine. Look at that thing. Shines like mad. And realize, these are 13-year-old rims in hot, humid Houston, Texas. The plating pits. But you can see what a great job this polish does. Like I said, the guy who invented it in Missouri, hey, he used it on his show cars that he won all kinds of show stuff with. And the real advantage is, it protects the wheels, it prevents rust, it's rain repellent, and as it's got some type of wax base on it, shines for a long time before it just fades away. Especially the older ones that I used years ago, they polished fine, but they polished by buffing off the metal. Then there's bare metal sitting outside, and guess what? It oxidizes extremely quickly. And then corrodes away. Check out my old motorcycle. I polished this thing 6 months ago, and look, it's still really shiny. Before, it had all oxidized because I'd polish it with a regular polish. Didn't have wax or anything in it. And this quickly got white and looked horrible. It's still shining 6 months later sitting here. As the saying goes, only time will tell. Well, time told me that this stuff not only works, but it also lasts. Try it out if you're really into polishing metal stuff. I mean, look at it. Now I can't stop. Now I had to go polish the other ones too. It's addictive. Now the last product I tested out is the Skunk Engine Protectant Shine. What this does is it prevents metal parts from corroding. If you live in a corrosive environment, here in the Gulf Coast, near the ocean, salt water is going to corrode stuff. Just the humidity of Houston corrodes stuff. You live up north, the salt they put on the road in the winter is going to corrode metal. You can coat your metal with this stuff, and it'll prevent the corrosion from grabbing and holding. It's easy to put on. You can spray it on a rag, then wipe it on the metal, or you can spray it on directly, then wipe the residue off. Just wipe it all off. Now, I've been trying this out for months, and you can see it's pretty shiny. It was extremely corroded to begin with. I could have polished it down, but that's too much work. I just want to see if it's going to keep it from getting more corrosion, which is exactly what it did. Being a mechanic, I only care about saving things so they don't corrode, either rust or, in the case of aluminum, pit badly enough that it creates problems. Now, if you're an absolute fanatic, the shine is the last thing you'd use. You can clean your engine to your heart's content, degrease it, polish it all up, and then finish it off with this, which is going to leave a nice safety covering so the metal won't corrode. And it'll really be shiny if you go through all that, but I'm too lazy to do all that. I just use this to keep things from corroding. I really don't care that they're all that shiny under the hood. The hood's closed. I don't care. I don't have show cars. I'm not showing these. I'm just driving them around. Now, this has various petrochemicals in it, but strangely enough, when I read the directions, it has soybean oil in it too, so maybe if you got bugs in your neighborhood, after you polish it, they'll come and lick the soybean oil off. I haven't seen any extra cockroaches under there, so maybe they don't like the other chemicals that it's mixed with. So now, 3 products that I've tried out and found work quite well. And since this is Mechanic Monday, I'll be giving away a case of this Magic Guard polish. To have a chance to win, place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below to be able to polish away to their heart's content and make their vehicles all shiny and new. And here's some bonus questions and answers. There we go. Chrysler's at it again. I guess you could call this better late than never. The Dodge Viper is now being recalled 15 years after it was made, that the airbags could potentially just go off randomly whenever they want and whack you in the head, which would not be a good thing in one of those fast Vipers if you're driving around at 100 miles an hour and they randomly decide to go off and hit you in the head. Now, the estimated defects for these is really something. It's 100%. A lot of times they have a recall. They find that half of 1% or something the cars have the problem, but they recall them all. This one, it's 100% recall for all of them. They realize they made them all wrong. Not a real shocker there, though. Not for Dodge and Chrysler. And they even say that the airbag warning light might not even come on one way or the other. You just be driving down the road, all of a sudden, wham, it goes off. I guess since it's so much later, and those were the Vipers that were extremely fast vehicles, I'm sure quite a few of them are in junkyards now or have been crushed or aren't even running. I got a customer who owns 2 of them, and neither of them are running anymore. He's in the process of suing them. He's been suing them for years over the car. So, I mean, it's pretty safe. They're not driving. So, if the airbags do go off, they're not going to hit anything but air because nobody's inside them. Now, they only sold 3,329 of these Vipers, so it's not that big amount that they actually sold. They were pretty much a dramatic failure. They were one of those, ideas that sounded good at the time, and then when they made them, they had so many problems with them. Like I said, I got a customer who's got 2 of them. The engines went out on both of them. They weren't that well made, but kind of fascinating that over 15 years later, they're recalling every single one of them. The airbags may just decide to go off randomly with no warning whenever they feel like it. Sounds like something that Chrysler is just full of anyways. I mean, they've always had problems. This is just the tip of the iceberg, although a rather large tip if you happen to own one and you're driving down the highway and the bag decides to go off in your face. JCH says, hey, I'm having issues with the electrical on my 92 Chevy Silverado two-wheel drive, half-ton, 5.7 motor. It's melted, a wire under the dash. My fan motor blows the heat and air in the cab, and it's hot. I can't turn it off, and a bunch of wires on the firewall have been melted. Help. One, you got to fix all the melted wires. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Cut them, splice in new sections. But GMs are notorious for having bad ground wires. And what happens is, if you have a bad ground wire, then often it will use a power wire to try to ground the system. And so then you got power and ground on the same wire, and they heat up and they melt. You're going to have to fix all the melted wires. There's no way out of them. It's often the ground wires. It's a 92. My advice would be either get a good book or go to alldata.diy.com and find all the ground wires on that car and check them off. You find that they're corroded. If they get corroded, then they can't ground correctly. They get hot. The whole system gets hot. If you lose grounds entirely, the system will start using regular wires to ground it. Then you'll have ground and power on the same wire, and it really makes a mess. So let's pray you find a bad ground wire. And start at the simple thing. The negative ground cable on the battery. Follow everywhere it goes. Take it off. Make sure it's all clean and shiny. Bolt it back on. You have correct ground. Because a lot of times, it's as dumb as the battery cable is loose or corroded where it bolts onto the engine or where it bolts on to the frame of the vehicle, which is the main ground. But there's also lots of little grounds. You want to check them all. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.